Hey, everybody, welcome. It's 5 o'clock. We will call to order the Zoning Board of Appeals for December 17th. Thank you all for attending. And I believe, Daphne, you mentioned we do have a quorum. For those of you that are on the call that haven't been part of the meeting before, we will present the agenda item. We will then have an opportunity for the applicant to state their case, and then we'll have some discussion back and forth. At that point, we will open the floor to others on the call to provide input to the variance request. Then we will close that public part of the meeting and we will discuss as a committee and make a ruling. So with that, um, Daphne, could you please read the agenda item that we have before us? Oh, actually, before I should do that, I will approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Now, Daphne, can you please read the agenda item that we have before us this evening?
Sure, it's a little long, but I'll go and read what's on the screen. So, John Bergstrom, representing Lexus dealership on Airport Road, requests a variance um, from the City of Middleton sign ordinance to construct a 40-foot high two-sided monument sign measuring over 19 feet in width for a total of 100 square feet in sign area. The subject property is zoned planned unit development specific implementation plan, so some flexibility in the sign code can be made with Plan Commission approval. The proposed sign does not comply with the following provisions of the sign ordinance. Section 2211(1)(a) requires a sign in a similar zoning district to be 6 feet in height and 36 square feet in size. The proposed sign will be over 6 times taller and over 2 times larger than what is typically allowed. Section 2231G prohibits off-premise signs. The submitted plans includes a CSM and states that the sign would either be located on the north end of the Lexus dealership parcel or somewhere on lot 3 of the CSM. If the sign is located on lot 3, it would be considered an off-premise sign. And then section 2233(4)(a) requires a freestanding sign to include 2 landscape points for every foot of the sign's width for a total of 38 points. A landscaping plan actually has been submitted and I've included it in the packet, so it's on the last page. And that landscaping plan complies with this ordinance.
Thank you, Daphne. At that point, we will begin the public portion of the zoning board meeting at 5:02. Daphne, you had gone through and read that agenda application. Thank you. Are there any other documents or input that the city would have regarding this variance?
Yes, so I'll just go over very briefly the statements that I have already received. If I receive them before 1 p.m., they are included in the packet. So we got a letter from Terrence Wall in support of the variance, a letter from Danny Aerts, who is not in support of the variance, a letter from Maury Airplane Company in support. And then a letter from Alder Charles Myers in support of the variance. So those are all the ones that I have received as of 1 p.m. today, and I didn't receive any afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Any other site inspection information that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, so there is one last item. So this property is right next to the airport, and so the airport height limitation zoning does come into play, and so that allows up to 995 feet above sea level, and the current site is around 930 to 935 feet above sea level. So even with that 40-foot sign, it would be below the requirements of the airport height limitation zoning.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other information?
That
Okay,
is all
thank
I
you.
have.
Okay, thank you. So if the applicant for the variance is on the call, please state your name, and then you can proceed to present us with your variance request.
John Bergstrom, and I'm the owner of the Lexus dealership in Middleton. We have been working with Lexus and with the city of Middleton to get a sign that makes the dealership visible from the highway. One of the reasons that the Lexus dealership has been challenged We bought this recently from Roger Penske, but one of the reasons has been the signage will not allow anybody to see where we are. You can't, we're under the highway. And we've worked with the city, we've worked with the Department of Transportation, and we've worked with the state of Wisconsin, and we don't have anybody against it. In fact, they all say we understand, but they say it's up to Middleton to make a decision. Um, we also have worked with Lexus nationally and have asked them for examples of what maybe we can do. And they have a standard sign package that they use all over the United States. And the sign that we want to put is their standard sign. Instead of having it pole mounted, it's mounted in a monument sign the way that your community prefers to have it. It would be a much smaller sign if it didn't have that base, but we're happy to do it either way. They're very good looking. It's a high quality sign, and it's uh, also one that is not obtrusive or flashing or anything like that. Um, we also have asked Lexus and have brought them back again, and they will allow us to put the sign in either the northeast corner of our primary property, if that's more to your liking, or where they originally wanted it in lot 3, which is in the middle of that lot on the northeast side. Um, we are open to any um, comment that somebody could advise us on what they'd like us to do to be a better neighbor. We have approximately 100 employees, families, and this is a very difficult business without the signage. It's a significant hardship, and we very much would ask you to consider giving us the opportunity to put a sign up.
Oh, you're on mute if you're trying to speak.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Bergstrom. Are there questions from the zoning board for Mr. Bergstrom?
I have a couple quick questions. Do you know approximately how tall your existing building is? Just for reference in,
Yes, our building is 24 feet tall.
okay, so this monument sign will be about double the height of the existing building.
It actually, if we're trying to get an idea of how high the sign is, it is exactly 12 feet above the highway. The top of the sign is 12 feet above the highway.
And that's at the southbound lane at the ramp
Yeah.
where I know it kind of arches up there, right, to clear to go over Airport Road. Where is that 12 foot?
We asked the sign company to measure it, and it's 11 feet 8 inches from the place on the northeast corner.
Okay, thank you. And my other question is, so you do have a monumental sign on Airport Road. There's also several building signs. How long have those been in place? Do you know like when this dealership were they there originally from when this was built? Like there are currently other signs on the property, so I just
There,
want to understand
there is a
those.
sign on the road that goes towards the airport, and I I'm not sure, but I think that that's been there from the beginning. And then there's a sign on the building uh, facing, I want to get my west and south.
Thanks. That's yeah, that's what I saw as well when I went down there. I think there's maybe another just L, like the Lexus logo, not the whole Lexus of Madison as well on the southwest corner, correct?
Just a minute. I want to figure out where Southwest is. I know the property fairly well. I spent a lot of time on this, and I don't know that there's a sign there, but there certainly could be. And if you said it would be better if I took it down, I will.
No, no, I just want to state that there's currently other signs on the property that have been there for a long time. Um,
Um, as far as I know,
okay.
I can also tell you that when we were working with the state of Wisconsin, you could not see the building or any of the signs driving south, north or south for a significant period of time.
Okay. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Please.
Um, I think the question was asked, how does the height of the sign compare to the height of the building? And I didn't hear that answer.
The building itself is 22 feet 8 inches higher than ground.
It still doesn't answer my question. Is the sign higher than the building?
Yes,
By how much?
the sign is 40 feet. Actually, it's 38 feet 9 inches taller than the ground. So it's 10 feet.
How much higher than the building?
It would be,
It's around 16 feet taller.
yeah.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions also, if I can take my turn. Back when we were looking at the plat, there's an outlot 1 and a lot 3. And from the conversation so far, I'm understanding that you have ownership of lot 3 and potentially plans to do something with it.
Yes, we bought that lot because I misunderstood that if we had that lot, we could put a sign there. That was my mistake. Um, uh, we want to grow this business. We think in the future that we have a significant need for our inventory, both new and used, and our employee parking that will need what's marked as Lot 3.
And is outlot 1 land that cannot be developed? Or who controls that? And if you have the property that your current facility is on and you have lot 3, do you have access to connect them across lot 1?
Yes, we do. We have, I don't know if you can see this. Let me hold it up. We have ownership of the road that actually hooks them together. Can you
Okay.
see that? Can you see that?
I do see it, and so you need the road to do the connection. I mean, it kind of looks a little bit like outlot 1 might be a drainage swale or something like that. It's a little hard to.
That
Yeah.
is correct. That's correct.
Bob, yeah, Outlot 1, I believe, is owned by the owners of Lot 1 and 2. Whoever developed, I believe there's like a PPD building and another building out there. So that the owners of that, they retain Outlot 1, and I believe it is for drainage or some kind of stormwater. I believe, I'm not sure if Bergstrom owns the actual road itself. It might be an access easement. We would have to take a look into that, but yeah, so the actual road itself is more of an access easement rather than a parcel. It's not a separated parcel, at least from what we can see on our on like the Dane County parcel map.
Yeah.
So that would be, a separate kind of situation.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like to me. It looks like there's probably a public road back to Thermal Fisher, and then
Mhm.
there's an access easement across Thermal Fisher, which is on lot one, access easement across lot two to access lot three. And I guess the only reason I'm belaboring it is I was kind of interested in you talking a little bit about your future plans relative to the idea that you haven't spotted the sign yet. You said maybe it'd go on lot three, maybe it'd go in the northeast corner of your lot that's currently developed. And I had the thought in my mind that if there was a direct connection and direct development across them, maybe we could know what that was going to look like and have a longer view picture maybe of um, how this all looks. So that was my curiosity.
If I don't want to take your time on the holidays, and I appreciate your time to think about this. If you look at the red, I don't know if you can see color here, but
Yeah, we
the
can.
road that goes along our main property, we own and we maintain, and it looks like a city road, but it's our, and it's a road that gives an easement to users of lot one and lot two. I think Daphne's right on the lot that goes horizontal. That probably is an easement to us. I don't know that, but if it was important to you, I would work to buy that easement into an ownership. I don't know what it is. Relative to using lot three and developing it, if it was something important to the committee, we would agree to what they want to do. Our plan was to grow our business there. And if we built a building there, it would be a modest building. It wouldn't be some kind of a high volume retail thing or something like that.
Sure. And employee parking or additional inventory
Yes,
parked on that lot three might be examples of use of that land.
correct. That would be that would be the obvious primary use for it would be our employee parking lot and our inventory parking lot.
I think that answers my question about that. Um,
I have a couple questions kind of regarding that. There seems to be a large grouping of trees along the highway that would potentially block the view from the southbound. Is that part of parcel three, or is that um, Wisconsin DOT?
I believe that trees are north of lot three.
Those, okay.
they're probably near the outlot, Justin. I did a little tour down Street View of Google Earth as I was like trying to anticipate what all this looks like. So
Right. Yeah, it looks like because I'm on that right now. And it looks like it's not north of parcel three. It would either be east of parcel three or in parcel three. That is just a
yeah. Yeah, and if you travel a little further down the road there's a couple signs.
right that this grouping.
Yeah. That I think is probably about outlot because you're getting to be looking almost straight west.
Right. It looks like it's not just on the other side of the bike path there. So that's why I was thinking it was probably parcel three, but
Okay, before we get to any more questions, I think, Paul, we should open up the public hearing portion to the public, to see who else, So if anyone on the Zoom would like to speak either for or against this sign variance, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and then have Paul call on you in order, and then please give your name and your address, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
So with that, are there people in attendance that would like to speak for or against?
I would.
Okay, can you please state your name?
My name is Flamor Adili, and I live in the Highwood Estates neighborhood right behind the dealership, 4876 Highwood Circle.
Thank you. And can you certainly share with us?
Yeah. One thing I hope this isn't going to turn into is the same thing like the Laser Express building and the airport meetings, where everybody pretty much told us townies to go pound sand. We don't care about your input. That's our experience so far with anything going on over there. So that's just kind of where we're starting with that. One thing that the previous speaker brought up was that he just wants to be a better neighbor. Yeah, Middleton is the good neighborhood community, but please be aware that we're neighbors too. It's not just the friendly businesses. It's not just people that are willing to give you money. It's people that have to live right next door to you. And I mean, when you said you've talked to the DOT, you've talked to this, you've talked to that, why not come and talk to us? I'm a friendly guy. Come in, let's have a cup of coffee. And what is this going to look like from where I sit, from where my kids sit? It's been getting worse and worse, and we just have no representation. Well, I don't want to say no representation, but the city of Middleton just doesn't seem to care about us. The other thing that I wanted to ask was with it sounds as far as above sea level that the height would be okay, but that's what they were saying with the Laser Express building when they initially built that, and the FAA came along and said, no, wait, you've got to put a huge blinky red light on top of your building. Is that going to be the same thing here? Are we going to have two massive red lights right next to us that are on all night? That's always a concern. I mean, I'm a parent of a special needs kid where sleep is so extremely precious. And when there's red lights blinking that we have to block out so he can go to sleep, it's just an annoyance. And I mean, I'm not anti anything. I realize there's businesses need to make money. I've purchased vehicles from that Lexus dealership. I used to go there for service in the Penske days. I no longer do, just because they were the kind of company that gives dealerships a bad name. But it's
Okay,
they're our neighbor and we do want to get along with them.
good.
But please keep in mind that there's people that live here and that we have to look at your parking lot. We still see the scar on the back fence from where the airplane crashed years ago. So just put yourself in our shoes for just a second. You're sitting out on your deck trying to enjoy your evening, and there's a huge sign with a flashing light on top of it. And there's already a building there with the big red light. And again, I've been in the automotive space for over 25 years. And in the marketing, advertising end. And when I drove down the Beltline this morning to go to work, even traveling south, I was able to see your sign for at least 4 or 5 seconds. And when I've paid for billboards before, if I can get 3 seconds of somebody's attention, we're golden. And in one of your documents there, you said that the highway was built above us. I'm sorry, but your dealership was built below the highway. That's something they didn't take into consideration. And I realize you have to be in business. You're there to make money, and everything else is an afterthought. And one thing we would need to see as well is an elevation from where we live. We have no idea what it's going to look like. We have no idea where it's going to be. It's one thing I do appreciate is that it's a very narrow sign. And if it's right on Airport Road, maybe we won't see it. Maybe it'll blend away, but dear Lord, 40 foot tall. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I go down there now and I drive through all the suburbs, and it's just row after row after row of dealerships with huge, massive signs, and it's a game of one-upmanship. No, mine's going to be 2 feet taller. Mine's going to have red instead of blue. How long until Airport Road turns into that? I mean, there are
It's
people that live here. I mean, these houses have been here since the early 90s. They're where we're looking at what used to be a shooting range. And I know you own the land, and Thermo Fisher owns the land between you and us. But come on, man, you got to leave some bucolic beauty for us. And it's going to be affecting home values. It's again, we just don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, if you need a rear elevation picture, come on over. That's my house. My yard is always open. Grab a camera, grab your designers and say, this is what it's going to look like. And definitely, is there going to be a flashing light on top, a red light? But I know you're shaking your head, but that's exactly what they said with the Laser Express building. And then all this
Thank you.
stuff.
I really appreciate your input. We do have some other folks that we need to
Okay.
get to on the call, but thank you for your input, Mr. Adili. I believe we have David Shaw has his hand up.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. I think
Okay,
everyone else
great.
can too.
Thank you. I will be brief. I have another meeting to get to. Just echoing Mr. Gillies' sentiments, it would be really, really good to know where this is going to be and what it would look like from those houses to the north. I'm sorry, I apologize. My address is 1337 North High Point Road in Middleton City. I will not see this at all from my house. I just think a large sign like this needs to have some really good representation as to where it will be and how it will impact the neighbors. I also agree that businesses need to have signage. There is some good signage that can be seen from Highway 12. And so I think before a decision is made, we need more information on things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Are there others on the call? I don't see anyone else's hand up. If no one else would like to speak, I would like to bring it back to the zoning board members if they have any questions for Mr. Bergstrom. I guess I have a rather more pointed question. You had talked about your hardship and the fact that not having a sign affects your buildings and your sales. But when I drive around the neighborhood, directly across the highway, there's Shep Motors, there's a Ford dealership, Gobin, and others, and they all have or zoning regulation compliant signs. So I'm having a little bit of a struggle with the hardship that the fact that you don't have a sign impacts your business. So I'd like you to elaborate on that a little bit, because depending on how the discussion goes, we need to have a very clear and concise hardship.
Thank you. I understand your question. We also have looked at that situation, and that building is above the highway. And it is
Which
easy,
building?
Shep Motors.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Excuse me. It is above the building and can be seen from the road both ways. The Ford store, which is, and I want to make sure I get the directions right, east, also is visible from the highway. Our Chevrolet dealership, which is northeast, is also visible from the highway. We are not, I certainly want to be respectful for Mr. Adali. And I'm happy to have breakfast or lunch with him at any time. I don't want to upset his family and upset the view of what he gets. We have talked with the airplane people. We have talked to the state. There's no need for a light on it. There's no flashing on this at all. It's a very backlit, high quality sign. I can say, and I don't know the people, so this isn't trying to be offensive. There are 64-foot billboards on both sides of our dealership that are there. I don't know where they came from or whatever. One of them is multi-changing, which is directly to the south of us and relatively new. It wasn't a long time thing. So it isn't like we're trying to copy that or anything. That's a huge sign. Our sign, when you look of it at just barely above the highway, and all it says is Lexus Bergstrom. That's all it says. There's nothing that should be offensive with it, and it's really important, and it does cause a hardship. I have been successful in business. I'm not saying that I'm crying poor, but I also want you to know I care about our employees and I care about their families very sincerely. And we have been a significant donor, and not just a little, in the places that we have dealerships. And you could check with the Boys and Girls Club in Madison. We're one of their major donors. We're good neighbors. The landscape design that we put in is Lexus's top design, and we hired their people to do it for us. So it's going to look like a high quality place, and we're trying to be an enhancement rather than a problem. And I'm sorry that if somehow it looks like we don't care about people, we sincerely do. And anybody that knows me would say that to you.
I don't disagree. I certainly understand exactly what you're saying, but my question comes from living in the neighborhood and knowing that area very well, and knowing all the other dealerships on the east side of the highway. Those buildings certainly do have a larger, sign on the building face, along with a monument sign on the highway. So, again, I guess my question is, with the hardship, and Lexus has the same thing. You have that larger blade sign with the L logo on the west side of your building. You have the monument sign, and you also have the branding on your building facing the highway. So I think my question still would be, and this may be part of the discussion with the group. How does not having that taller sign impact your business from dollars and cents when the other dealers don't have that and they seem to be doing fine?
If you would like me to, I will take the sign off the side of the building, whichever direction. I got to figure that out again, the east side, if you think somehow that's offensive.
No, it's not. And I think, then that question then again leads into another question that I have for you. Something like this, which is quite a departure from our current zoning code. I think before anybody can really comment on the sign, we would need to have a clear understanding of where this would be located and how it would look. So that would require your sign company to actually take some pictures, so we would have a very clear and concise understanding where this is and what it would look like. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Daphne, I think in this district, billboards are not allowed. And I think you are correct. There is a sign changing billboard to the south of your property, but that was installed prior to our new zoning code being adopted.
Paul, and I will say that was installed illegally. They didn't get the permits, and so the city did go through a legal process and ended up
Okay.
settling, and so that's why that billboard still exists. So yes, I will just say that that process was unique on its own. And then also another thing is in the variance request, a financial hardship is not something that the board can consider when making this decision.
Okay. If where we wanted the sign first was on the dealership property, so it's a long way away from any house, and it's in that northeast corner. That's where we asked to have it put when we started this whole thing. And I was told it would be better if it would be further to the north.
Can you go back to the plat plan, please, Daphne? So maybe you can point for all of us to see where Mr. Bergstrom is describing the sign location.
I believe he originally wanted it somewhere in this,
I'm still seeing the monument
oh,
signs.
give me a second, sorry. In this north,
Yes,
east
yes.
corner, yeah.
Daphne, do you happen to have the aerial plan, like a Google map? It might be helpful too, just in
Yeah.
context.
Yeah, so I believe it was gonna be somewhere at the end of one of these parking lot areas.
That's correct.
Mhm.
And then so circling back, sorry, to my growth of or a grove of trees comment, you can see right in that area there's a bunch of trees that would be that I believe is currently blocking probably some of your signage. And I think that's probably part of your parcel. Is that going to be removed? It seems like it may be in conflict with where you're proposing the sign.
Um, when we talked to Lexus the first time, and they have people that do their national program, they said the ideal place would be in that northeast corner and that they would not have any movement of trees. And we're happy to put it there.
Paul, I have my hand up.
I'm sorry, John. I did not see that. John, go ahead.
That's okay, it blends in. Um, I guess I'm still having trouble understanding the hardship. And even if financial isn't a reason for hardship, I wonder if there's any studies done to suggest how many increased sales there would be from having this sign. I don't think people don't know where Lexus is. I think a lot of people know where it is. And I don't think the problem is trying to let people know where you are. I think it's just a matter of service and whatever else that people either buy you or they don't.
John, the man that owned this before us and sold it to me is one of the most respected auto retailers in America, Roger Penske. And he told me himself that Middleton was a difficult place for them to do business and they weren't allowed to put a sign. And he said, if I were you, John, I would work really hard to get the city of Middleton to help you put a sign there. The people from Lexus told me specifically, this is the only dealership they have in the United States that's not allowing a sign from the primary, allowing a sign to be visible from the primary highway traffic. Lexus can tell exactly how many vehicles should be sold in a marketplace that has so many people and has a certain income level. I don't know what that is, but it's significantly more than has been sold in the past. Uh, the only place I would get sensitive with you, John, is if for some reason somebody said we have crummy service or we don't care or our people don't care. I think our people really do care. We were named this year as one of the top 3 dealers in the United States for customer service. There are 18,000 dealerships. So maybe it's too heady on my part. I don't want to be heady, but I think we do do a good job. And we donate, just to be fact on fact, 25% of our pre-tax profits to the community where the dealership is every year. I don't know any other company in Wisconsin that does that. I can tell you major companies put in their line item budgets 2% or 3% or something. We use 25% and we do it in every community where we have a dealership. We are good, caring people and we don't want to mess up anybody's life.
Thank you for that, Mr. Burt. I certainly appreciate that. Are there other questions from board members that pertain to the variance request?
I have one.
Go ahead, Bob.
We're being presented with one solution and I'm wondering if there was work done to look at other ideas. For example, the sign that's mounted on the east facade of the building that is visible from the highway. I looked myself, I can see it traveling north or south. It's readable. It's not in your face, kind of that way. And the Shep Motor sign on their building across the street is relatively similar size. Your entire signage package and kind of design for your brand is elegant and understated, and it looks really nice. I'm wondering if there was ever any thought about allowing the sign on the east facade of the building to be a little bit bigger, or a different signage solution other than this monument sign that's 40 feet tall and 20 feet wide, that could accomplish the same goal, but maybe be a little understated like your brand is.
Okay. We have gone through 4 signage package reviews with Lexus. I have met with city officials 6 times or 7. And we've done a lot of work. And I personally drive back and forth from Neenah to do each of these meetings. I can tell you that we can make this sign half this size if it doesn't have to be a monument size. If you just took the bottom half of the sign off and said, we don't need that.
So
And
you need it elevated above the highway. You need the height to get the
yes,
text up in
and
space.
we're very happy to take the whole bottom of the monument sign off. We were told we had to have a monument sign, and that's where Lexus came up with this sign. But we're not trying to be obtrusive or in anybody's face.
Yeah. You're dealing with an elevation problem because the building is below the height of the highway,
Yes,
as are all the other ones.
yes.
Paul, can I
Hey,
have a
Bob,
minute?
we got, okay, go ahead, Dave.
I drove out there today and I drove up into the Fisher property to look down. There's certainly a hardship with the lack of visibility for this property. The key question to me was I went from corner to corner to look at this today, and it's, in my opinion, to protect the neighbors, it is to tie down the location. I mean, this is an 815-foot stretch of property from one side to the other, way it looks from the survey. And I think it's more important for us to know, where would this sign go? I think there's a need for this sign because coming north or coming from the north to the south, you're past the exit before you see the Lexus dealership. The other way, I don't know if you see it at all. A little bit maybe. But I think if we can pin down where it would be placed, in northeast corner seems to be the most least problem for any of the neighbors.
Thank you, David. We would put it in the northeast corner. Let's just say we will do it that way. So we're not offensive to anybody. There isn't anybody then within 450 feet of it, the sign. And I would meet with the man that spoke earlier and do it in such a way that it wouldn't affect his house. I'd be happy to do that. We'll figure out a way.
Thank you. You got a little out of order. We were going with some committee
I'm
members,
sorry.
but I realized Brad Belstra had his hand up before.
Yeah, I had just a quick one, and maybe this can't be answered, but maybe if Middleton were to approve this sign, what, since it's outside of the ordinance, what would that do for other businesses, say on the other side of Highway 12, for example, if Shep Motors or Middleton Ford or whatever said, oh, that's a wonderful sign. Now we would like to place a larger sign. Is that a likelihood or shouldn't be a factor?
We really can't rule based, and I understand your question, but we really can't rule on what someone might do in the future. We have to make a ruling on the variance before us.
Mm-hmm.
But we certainly don't know what would happen in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, each variance is considered, on its own merit. So, if another company wants to do another variance, they would have to go through their own whole process. So, and they can't point to, oh, this one got one, so we should also get one. That, can't stand up, in their,
Mhm.
hardship statement. Brad, could I get your address for the record?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm the president of the Highwood Homeowners Association.
Okay.
I'm 4864 Highwood Circle. And I would just close by saying I get both sides of Mr. Bergstrom's need for a sign. And I also get the concern of neighbors with what's it going to do to the view from my backyard. So I see both sides of it,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
important for everybody.
Mhm. Thank you. Back to committee zoning board members. Any other questions for Mr. Bergstrom before we close the public portion and discuss as a group, as a committee?
I have one final quick question that I don't think has been asked yet.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Adili.
Okay. I see the shape of the monument sign, but which way would it be pointing? Would would the major surface point towards the belt line, or would it point towards Airport Road? That's one thing that nobody's answered here, and I didn't see it on the plot map at all. So it's
Mr. Bergstrom, could you answer that? Would this sign, would the long face of it be parallel to the highway or perpendicular?
Perpendicular.
Is it gonna go this way?
nobody knows. Okay.
It would be, if you took, and put it in the corner, which we will do if you allow us. It
Okay.
will be, east and west. Is that the question?
Yes. So the narrow side would be facing the belt line, and the color side, the Bergstrom side, would be facing the highway. I didn't hear you.
Okay. The sign will be, east and west.
What the major length or Lexus? If I'm standing on the bike path and I look up, do I see the side of the sign or do I see Lexus Bergstrom? Which way is the Lexus logo pointing? East, west, or north, south?
Is it north-south? Okay.
Perpendicular to the house.
Our sign lady says north-south. But I'm happy to come and meet with you and get this to a situation where I care and it gets done, to the point that I'd plant trees in your backyard if that would help. Or,
It actually would. They ripped out a bunch when they put in that building. I think some of them are mine, but we've given up on really.
okay,
I
I
mean,
don't want
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Adili. Mr. Bergstrom, I do have a question for you. Is this sign internally lit?
Internally lit.
It's internally lit, it's backlit.
How
So
about
then
light pollution? Has that
Well,
been factored in
Mr.
at all?
Adili, I'm
Okay, I'm
asked
sorry. I'm out of here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Paul, you haven't
comply
closed the
with
public
Middleton
hearing yet,
zoning
so.
for light lumens spilling over property lines and such.
So
So we have zoning ordinances that require, so many lumens cannot extend beyond a property line.
okay,
Right?
but
So does this
since
sign comply
since we're
with
I'm sorry,
that?
but since we're still in the public section, I'm still so the Lexus logo. Basically, I'm going to be in my house looking at a big Lexus logo.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. I cut out there for a minute.
The Lexus logo is going to be, you can see it from Airport Road. If you're on Airport Road and you look up, you will see the Lexus logo. Correct? That I'm still not clear. No, so you said it was going east and west, but which what side of the sign is east and west? The narrow sides, or is this something that's going to be done in the future? Because we're here talking about a sign, but nobody's telling
Okay.
us where
Okay,
it is, what it's going to look like.
thank you, Mr. Daly. If I
Okay.
could just refine that a little bit. So the sign, Mr. Bergstrom, if I'm driving down the highway going south, and am I going to see the sign the way it looks on the sheets
Yes,
that are on the screen? You'll see
Yes.
that Bergstrom. And then as we get closer to it, then, so basically that sign is perpendicular to the traffic, to the highway.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Are there any other questions from the zoning board members for Mr. Bergstrom?
And Paul, I will just say you technically haven't closed the public hearing portion of it. So if you want to just contain it to just questions from the board, we can do that.
Right. I will. So if there's no other questions, then I'll close the public part of the meeting at 5:50 and we can discuss as a board.
Would there
Okay.
be any chance I could make one more comment?
Yes, you can make one more comment.
This is backlit, not to give light. It's to illuminate the sign.
Okay.
And there are people all over the country that have the same issue. And it
Sure.
is not, there's no light, it's not penetrating light out. Okay. I want to
Thank you.
thank all of you for taking the time today, and I appreciate it. And I also have worked in municipal stuff, and I know it's not compensated very well, if at all. And I know it's Christmas, so thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. So we closed the public part of the meeting, so we will discuss as a board. Any comments from any of the board members?
I guess, yeah, just starting it off. I'm aware of where Lexus is based off of their, current signage. I travel up and down that highway fairly frequently. I also think that the signage, the building signage that they have I mean, there's room on that building to make it larger and to make it more visible. I've been going back and forth on Google Maps up and down the highway, and I, those trees really do block the existing building signage, and that's part of the reason why you're not seeing it. I invite you to do the same. And I don't know when this was taken, right? I don't recall when I went out there last if those trees were there. I wasn't specifically looking for them at that point, but I would suggest whatever if they are on your property, may want to take a look at that. Um, yeah, those ones right there. The reason for going to the monumental sign is because the zoning code no longer allows for billboard signs, right? So that's where he was talking about. We could have this pole and then put a sign, right? But the intent, I think the intent of the code is to not have a huge, it's not just the pole, right? It's a 40-foot sign. That's a large sign. And that's why there is a 6-foot. That's why we have 6 foot in our zoning code, right? It's a monument sign that is intended to be placed usually by the entrance of the business, not out in a field somewhere to draw eyes off the highway. I was part of the zoning code rewrite, and that is the intent behind those two signage updates. So I just wanted to let the rest of the committee kind of know where those came from.
Other discussion?
A question for Justin. Justin, when was the zoning code rewrite done?
This was I don't remember. There has been several amendments to it since it originally came out. Daphne, you might know the exact date of acceptance, but I remember it started during COVID, right? It was 2020, 2021 when it started. I don't know the end date of the acceptance, but
And I believe it was adopted in 2024, early 2024. And we've just done one round of amendments this year. So it's been about a year and a half that we've had these new ordinances.
Well, that's quite recent. That's good.
Mhm.
Other discussion from board members?
A comment, just kind of looking at the view that's on the screen right now where Justin's talked about those trees, and my guess from looking at that and then looking at the plan view is that those trees are probably on that outlot, and um, the applicant probably doesn't have any ability to alter those trees to make his signage more visible. That's just kind of a side comment.
I thought he owned Outlot 3.
Outlot one is in between. Outlot one is where that drainage swale is. And then I think there's the highways easement. Yeah, so outlot one kind of has a little dog leg that goes north. I think those trees are kind of right along that highway property line. And then if you go back to the bird's eye view of Google Earth and look, you can kind of see the difference between where the land is green versus where the land is brown, and I'll bet that
Sure, I see it now. Yep.
pretty
Same
much
parking lot.
to where the property line is. So, there's a easement beyond the bike path that kind of
Separates
puts
there.
his
Okay.
sign further away
Yep.
and further down the hill as a result of that too. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and the one thing, to the sign location, driving around the neighborhood, all the other dealerships don't have a very large monument sign at the main thoroughfare in front of their business. They're all the smaller monument signs that are zoning code compliant. Zimbrick, Ford, Bergstrom, his other dealership, Shep Motors, Gobin, they're all successful without having that very large sign. And I'm
As you
having a
can
very
as you continue south too, right? There's other businesses, not car
correct,
dealerships that have signage on the
correct,
building that is visible from the highway.
right, right. So not considering the financial argument part of it, none of the other dealerships and none of the other businesses in this area, even going over to Kiva and the business park and by Spectrum Brands, they all have the lower monument signs. And I'm sure they would all love to have a bigger sign if they could.
Hi, this is Mayor Kuhn. I just wanted to pop up that is a very good point. It strikes me as I've been looking at this case in driving around that the car dealerships on the other side of the highway, though, when you look at them, you're overlooking like a valley. So you see the wide expanse when you're driving by, and it's a car dealership. This one kind of doesn't have that same opportunity because of the ridge, because of Thermo Fisher. Like, there's lots of great things going on. So in my mind, I don't think it's an apples to apples situation. And I'm not saying I'm for tall signs all throughout the city, but I say that because the 8-foot sign strikes me as more of a Main Street ordinance. And so I think this is just a little more unique than all things on both sides of the highway. So that's all I ask, is that you consider that.
Thank you, Mayor. To her point, I can understand that comment when you're traveling north. You can see the car dealerships, but I would argue as you're traveling south, you would see that same expanse over a car dealership looking to the west, right? And likewise, if you're heading south on the highway, the dealerships further to the east on Airport Road may be less visible. But I do take her point to heart. Other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I'm still having trouble understanding the hardship.
Yeah, thank you, John. And as Daphne had mentioned, did we all have an opportunity to review the links that Daphne had sent us regarding variances uh, in the current zoning rewrite, and that financial hardships typically are not something that we're charged with considering.
Paul, if I can just pop in here, question for
Absolutely.
Daphne. Daphne, if this wasn't acceptable, could this property support and be approved for a billboard? Maybe not for an on-premise business, but could there be a gigantic billboard put up there and rent it out to Starbucks or some other outside user?
No, so we don't allow any billboards or off-premise signs in the city altogether. So as I said before, that other billboard just to the south of Airport Road, that was put in without city permission, and so we had to go through a legal settlement. And that's why that one is still there. But otherwise, we don't allow any new billboards in Middleton.
Okay, thank you.
To the other committee members, I understand some of the arguments. I'm struggling with a sign that is over 6 times over what we allow in the zoning ordinance. And I think Bob Mangus or Justin was onto something. Is there some middle ground, right? That could allow some kind of a signage then to be a little bit more visible, but not as large as what we were presented with tonight. And I'm also having a difficult time understanding. I know where the sign is located, and I'm an architect, and I understand that. But I think for us to really make a definitive ruling, we would need to see some three-dimensional imagery from the highway, understanding where this is located, what the size is, what's the impact. That's just me speaking to the other board members, and I don't know what your thoughts are on that as well.
Yeah, 40 feet is a really tall sign, right?
Yeah.
Like when we were looking at the photographs in the Google Maps, right? You can see the existing building. And we're talking, a third taller than that at least another 16 feet.
Mhm.
And I guess what is, what's determining that height, right? Like we have a set height
Mhm.
in our zoning code, in our
Mhm.
ordinance,
Mhm.
and going 6 times larger, right? Why not 4 times larger? Why not 10 times larger,
Right.
right? Like we're getting exponentially larger than what we're currently allowing. And I know we have to take this base case by case,
Mhm.
but I think there's absolutely, you know, I think our new zoning code's written for a reason, and every business wants a bigger sign, right? Because they think that's the elixir that's going to bring them more business. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but
Mhm.
we all need to live here as well. And um, a 40-foot tall sign is a really tall sign, and
Mhm.
the intent of getting rid of a billboard sign is to get rid of a sign that tall, not just the pole, right? It's to have this gigantic sign serving one business, serving one um, entity, right, at the detriment to everyone else. So
Mhm.
that's my comments. I'll leave it there and
Well, I
open
think
it
Mr.
back to
Bergstrom
others.
alluded to the fact that Lexus has a national sign standard, so that is something that they develop for all their dealerships, I assume. Not only in the state, the Midwest, and nationally, that they then apply to different dealerships, and then deal with the sign ordinances and variances, as they go. Or in some cases, maybe there are not any. So I think we're if there's other discussion, certainly, let your thoughts be known. But if there's a motion for this variance, um, I would certainly, we welcome that. So is there a motion for this variance, either for or against?
I'll motion to deny the variance request based on lack of hardship.
I would second that.
Okay, so Justin motion to deny. And Bob seconded it. Is there any discussion, internally, before we make a vote?
Call the question.
Yes, go ahead, John.
Call the question.
Oh, then do we have a motion to deny the variance?
I thought that's what Justin did.
Yeah, it was moved and
Yeah,
seconded.
and then Bob seconded. I was just asking, is there any further discussion from the board members before we vote?
I'm just asking for the vote.
Okay. So all in, go ahead.
Let's do the vote.
Okay. So we have a motion on the table from Justin to deny the variance. Bob seconded it. So all in favor of denying the variance request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All not in favor of denying it. Okay, so
No,
I'm sorry. So then the motion or the variance does not pass.
That is correct. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor and then 1 opposed. So the variance is denied.
Correct. So that concludes that discussion for that variance. So do we have a motion to conclude the zoning board meeting?
So moved.
Okay.
second.
So John and Dave seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
You too.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.